All right, here we are for lesson 9.7. We're going to cover different percentages that you will encounter in real life, specifically discounts, markups, sales tax, and tips. I'm going to cover discounts first because it's the easiest of them, and we've kind of already done some work in finding a percent off of something. And then I'll take a moment to explain markups. So let's look at example 1 on page 485. The question is saying that there is a pair of jeans that you buy that are 30% off the original price, and the original price is $29. So the question that we're answering is what is, that's A. I'm using the percent equation. If you prefer proportion, if you figured out a way to just calculate this, I'm fine with that as well. Just a reminder that if you do not show your work and you are working them out wrong or you push the wrong button on your calculator, I can't give you partial credit. All right, so what is A? 30%, I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to a decimal, of $29. And then into my calculator, I would type 0.3 times 29 and get that A equals 8.7. Now this is the discount, how much has been taken off of $29. So I need to also, into my calculator, do 29 minus 8.7, and I would get 20.3. Now the question says, what is the sale price? So my question to you is this how we write money? No. If you went into the store to buy the jeans, it would not say, these jeans are on sale for 20.3. It would say 20.30 because it's $20.30. So please make sure as you're answering these questions that you do write the answer in the form that's being asked. If it's money, make sure that you show the cents. If it's a percent, do not put 30 over 100 as your answer to a percent question. This happened on the quiz several times. I noticed that it would say, write this percent, 30% for example, as, it would say, write something as a percent, and then y'all were writing it as a fraction. This is a percent, you're saying per 100, but now that I didn't count off, but I'm telling you now, if it asks for a percent, you need to write it as a percent, okay? All right, that's example 1, pretty simple on finding a discount. The next example is a little bit trickier if you don't understand the terms, so I'm going to use example 2 to walk you through what the terms mean. And we're talking about a store that sells skateboards. They were purchased from a manufacturer, so let's back up to the manufacturer and talk about what wholesale means. At the skateboard manufacturer, they make skateboards. Let's say, for example, that the skateboard costs them $40 to make it, okay? So when they turn around and sell the skateboard to a skateboard store, they set up their price and in this example, it's $57. Now, this is called the wholesale price because it's starting back at the manufacturer, okay? And that's just what you call it. You take, for example, toilet paper. If you're buying your toilet paper at Kroger, well, Kroger had to buy it from the Charmin manufacturer. And so the Charmin manufacturer will sell it to Kroger at wholesale, and then Kroger marks up the price. And that's what we're going to talk about here with this skateboard example. Okay, so wholesale price, $57. That's what the store pays the skateboard maker for the skateboard. Okay, the store is not going to sell it to you for $57 because then they won't make a profit. So they mark up the price. And this example tells us that they mark it up 150%. Okay, that's the markup. They're raising the price 150%. So we have to figure out what is 150% changed to a decimal, looks like this, of 57. Okay, now let me stop and talk about over 100% again because that still is confusing to people. 100% of 57 is 57, right? So if I did 100% markup, it would not cost $57 because that's no markup at all. It would cost an additional $57, which would be $114, okay? But we're marking it up, or the skateboard store is marking it up 150%. So 57 original price plus 57 100% plus 50 more percent, okay, which would be about what, almost $28, $27.50, something like that, okay? That's just a little quick another teaching on going over 100% because I know that's confusing to some people. But back to our original percent equation. What we're trying to figure out, what is 150% of 57, okay? So into our calculator, we type 1.5 times 57 and get 85.50, okay? Which then needs to be added back to the original wholesale price to find out what the retail price is, because you're going to a retail skateboard store, and you are the consumer and you pay retail price for things, okay? So 85.50, the markup, plus 57, the wholesale price, means that the retail price is $142.50. All right, that's worked out again for you in example 2 if what I was saying wasn't clear. And I will move on to example 3 now. Okay, whoops, I always forget to switch over to my eraser pen thing. All right, example 3. This one I think is the most practical of the ways of using it. You will need to know how to figure a tip when you get a little bit older and are at restaurants. In years past, I've offered extra credit if you go out to eat with your family and they should hand you the receipt and have you figure out what the tip and the tax would be, usually not the tax. But unfortunately, since we're all stuck at home, we can't have that opportunity. But anyway, still need to know how to do it. Let's look at example 3. So when you're at a restaurant, you pay $12 for your meal. Okay, that's just for your food and your drink. Okay, and the problem goes on to tell us that the sales tax is 5% and you're going to leave a 20% tip. Okay, so a 20% tip and 5% tax. So we need to figure out what 5% of 12 is and what 20% of 12 is. Okay. I'll try to bring this up again when it shows up, but the trickiest part to these and I've seen this mistake over and over in the years that I've been teaching this, is some students will find the 5% tax and then find 20% of the food and the tax total. Make sure that you don't do that. Find these two individually, okay? Find 20% of 12 and find 5% of 12 and then add them all together to get the total bill, okay? All right, so 2 separate percent equations that we have to work out. What is 20% of 12? This is going to be our tip. So I'm going to type 0.2 times 12 and get $2.40. Okay? And my food was 12. I'm going to keep a running total over here like a receipt. And then what is 5%? Now, quick review. We have 5% needs to be turned into a decimal. And remember, to switch a percent to a decimal, you go to the left 2 spaces, not just one. It's not 0.5 because that would be 50%. It's 0.05. So 0.05 times the food cost. And you would see in your calculator that that comes up to 60 cents. And then you just add all three together. So hopefully you can see that $2.40 plus 60 cents is $3, plus the 12 would give you a total food bill of $15. All right, that's how you solve those things. I am going to work example 2. No, I tell you what, I'm going to do example 3 because it has to do, guided practice 3 because it has to do with example 3. We might as well do it while we're on the same one. Okay? So, skipping guided practice 2 for right now. Guided practice 3. So again, if you want to pause it and come back to hear the answer, that would probably be best so you know if you're doing these right. Suppose the bill from example 3 was $15. So I pay $15 for the food instead of $12. Okay? And it says to find the total cost. Nothing else changed. So find the total cost for still using a 20% tip and 5% tax. Okay? So here I'm going to do 0.2 times 15, and here I'm going to do 0.05 times 15, and I'm going to get 0.2 times 15 is $3, and 0.05 times 15 is 75 cents. Added to my cost for the food, and you would see that the total would be $18.75. All right, that's how you do example 3. I think I have time to put example 1 on this, guided practice 2 on this video before I run out of time. So I have 2 minutes left. All right, so let's try example 2. Guided practice 2. Oh my goodness. A store buys guitars from a manufacturer at a wholesale price of $38. That's wholesale. The store's markup is 85%. I'm going to go ahead and turn it into a decimal. What is the retail price? So I need to figure out what the markup is. 85% of 38. So into my calculator, 0.85 times 38 is 32.30. Added to the wholesale price of 38 is $70.30 is what the retail price of the guitars is. And that's how you do those 2 guided practices. I am going to post a second video that goes through example 4 and some of the problems from the lesson.